Greetings and salutations. I'm Madison and welcome to my channel Uniquely Madison, your one-stop place for everything vintage. Uniquely Madison. In today's video, I'm going to be teaching you how to achieve this glamorous 1940s makeup look. Now, all of the products that I use are drugstore or at least on the affordable side. I do not have any real luxury products. So if you are looking also for some affordable makeup options, you might find some in this video. I do have everything linked down in the description box below to the best of my ability. Some things I am sure are no longer available, but what I can link, I will link down below. I've been creating vintage makeup looks for over 10 years, so I've used a few vintage tricks, I've used a few modern tricks, and put it all together to create this sort of customized old Hollywood look. The key elements of a 1940s makeup are thin and soft eyebrows with slightly rounded arches, subtle eyeshadow and liner with just a hint of a wing on the outer corner. The lips, being the brightest part of the look, usually featured a saturated color, like a bold red or cherry pink. For my makeup look, I am personally taking inspiration from old Hollywood stars Rita Hayworth and Deanna Durbin, because they both have makeup looks that best suit my facial features. Before I apply foundation, I am going to be pulling back my hair a little bit so I can get clear access to the hairline and avoid getting any product in my hair. Now I'm going to be applying foundation with my fingers because the warmth of my hands helps to blend the product better, and I've found it gives me a bit more control over the amount of coverage in different areas of my face. The foundation I am currently using is from L'Oreal. It is the Infallible Pro Matte Foundation in the shade True Porcelain. This foundation has a clay-like texture, which means it has great coverage. However, it does crack after a few hours, so I'm still on the hunt for a true long-lasting foundation. However, before I buy new, I am honoring the 1940s frugality mentality by using up what I have first. So I've been working to use up this foundation over the past few months. After I have sufficiently blended the makeup into my face, I like to go over certain areas with a damp sponge to blend the edges over my ears, around my hairline, and down the jawline. This helps to make the product blend seamlessly into my skin, and it erases any harsh lines where my fingers might have missed blending. Moving on to concealer, currently I am using the Maybelline Age Rewind Eraser Corrector in the shade 95. This is the best inexpensive concealer that I have found. It's not too cakey, and it's light enough to blend into my fair complexion. On a normal day, I will skip concealer, but when I am filming or performing, I like to have a bit extra coverage around my eyes and on any blemishes that might have appeared on my skin. So I'm going to take a little bit of this product and put it under my eyes. I put a little bit on the top lid. I also like to take some of the redness out of my nose, the upper fatty area of the cheek next to the nose, and then a little dab on the chin and any blemishes that might be there as well. Up next is powder. I use the Coty Airspun Loose Transparent Face Powder, and I apply this with a very large powder puff. Back in the 1940s, most makeup was oil-based, so they used a generous amount of powder to set all of the makeup in place. I also like to be generous with the powder, however, I don't use as much as they did back then, because today's formulas have changed and we don't need quite as much as they needed back then. Did you know that creating videos for this channel can be a huge undertaking? Even the most simple looking video can take countless hours of research, filming, and editing that I do all by myself. If you would like to help me continue to create content, please consider joining my YouTube community page. As a member, you not only support me, but you get access to exclusive bonus videos, sneak peeks, a monthly movie recommendation, behind-the-scenes content, and more. It's a great way to help support me and my work while getting some awesome perks in return. So tap the join button to become a member and help me to continue to create content. Now let's get back to the video. For my classic red lip, I like to use two products. The first is a dark matte lipstick as a base, and then I top that with a lighter cream stick to add dimension and shine. I'll start by filling my lip brush with Clinique's Matte Crimson. I'm going to use this to line the lips. Getting the shape right is the most time-consuming part of the whole routine, and a clean application with crisp, precise lines is essential for me. I like to have very crisp, clean lines. I think it looks so much better if you just take a little extra time to make sure everything is even and precise. For the upper lip, the width should be consistent from the corner of the mouth to the cupid's bow, and the cupid's bow should have a strong, clean V shape in the center. I'm mostly following the natural shape of my upper lip with only a little bit of overdrawing here and there just to make both sides look even. For the lower lip, I am overlining the sides quite a bit to make it appear fuller than the top. The most critical step in overdrawing and working with such a bold lip color is to make sure that the lines from the upper and lower lips meet equally at the corners. If you don't, it can start to look a bit clownish, or you will give yourself a permanent frown, which is not what we want. So make sure that the corners are both crisp and that they meet equally in the edges. After drawing out my shape and laying down a base coat of the matte crimson, I sometimes like to powder the lips just to help the product really set. After that, I add a layer of a lighter colored lipstick. I use either Revlon's Cream Stick in the shade Love That Red or L'Oreal's Le Rouge Paris. I put this right over the matte base, focusing mostly on the center of the lips, just to add that shine and dimension I talked about earlier. I'm going to be dipping into both my Revlon Colorstay Shadow Quad and this Clinique palette. Using a small eyeshadow brush, I'm going to be dipping into the Clinique shadow first and picking up this shade called Teddy Bear, which is a rich golden brown color. I'm going to work this color into the crease, blending it outward and upward to create a soft, lifted wing shape. This will help give the eye an instant lift and add some depth and dimension to the lid. Next, I'm taking a smaller flat brush and applying the same golden brown shade in a thin line along the lower lash line. I'm not going all the way to my tear duct, I'm just applying the product to the outer corner of my eye to connect the shadow from the top down to the bottom. Now I am switching over to my Revlon palette, and with my finger I'm going to be picking up this pearlescent champagne shade and applying it to the base of my lids as well as my brow bone. Adding this shade to the brow bone and lid will add a bit of highlight and brightness to the eyes, and it will help to make them look lifted and open. Okay, let's shift our focus to eyeliner. Now, I see so many people using a heavy black liquid liner when they try to do 1940s makeup looks. However, I have never seen, in all of the films I've watched, in all of the pictures that I've studied, I have never seen a woman from the 1940s wearing a thick black liquid liner. It's always very subtle if they have any eyeliner on at all. So I'm going to be dipping into this dark brown chocolate color with an angled brush, and I'm just going to tightline right where my lash is and bring that product out to a wing at the corner of my eye. Moving on to brows, my go-to brow product is the L'Oreal Brow Stylist Pencil, and I highly recommend it if you have blonde hair. It doesn't smudge, it has a color that is actually a blonde color, no orange or red undertones, and it's not too dark or really a brown color. My favorite part of this product is the fact that you can sharpen it to a super fine point and it doesn't break off. So I have a lot of control and I can get a very precise line with this product. I'm mostly going to add a little tail to my brows. Sometimes I skip doing my brows altogether because I don't need to do much. I just like to make them look a little bit longer and have a bit more of a defined arch. So that's what I'm going to do, add just a little bit of a tail to the edge and fill in any little empty spots along the way. For eyelashes, I am using L'Oreal's Voluminous Original Mascara in the shade Blackest Black. Because I am blonde and my eyelashes are very fair, you can barely see them. So I really like to make them pop and shine when I am filming or when I'm having photographs taken. They just tend to disappear if I don't have a strong black mascara to help them pop out. Most ladies tend to wear false eyelashes, and this is totally historically accurate. Most of the stars that you see back in the day were wearing false eyelashes, but I don't really like to wear them a lot if I don't have to, so I'm going to be skipping that step and just adding a little extra coat of mascara and calling it a day. Blush is the finishing touch, and for blush I am using Sunset Glow from Clinique, which color-wise is somewhere between a rose and a brick color. Some women back in the day were quite heavy-handed when it came to blush, but I'm not a fan of how that looks on me, so I'm just going to be applying a little bit to the high points of my cheek, and I make a little triangle shape going from the high point of my cheek just to the beginning of my ear. This works well for me because it both adds some color to my face and acts like a contour, so it slims my face a little bit and helps to bring out my cheekbones. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. To help keep my channel going, join my YouTube membership community to gain access to special perks and exclusive content, all while giving my channel financial support. Thank you so much for watching.